What's up, nerds? Gozmaster here, aka G to the 3 with another Magic the Gathering puzzle quest. Today's quest, Core 21, man. We just got the announcement. We've got some of the cards that are coming down. I want to spotlight some of the mythic cards that are coming down from the event and from the new release set that's coming out within a week from today, as of this recording, as of what's happening right now. This set should be available by next Tuesday, 27th, 28th of next week, next Tuesday. So as it sits, let's get right into it. Let's start looking at a bunch of these cards. I'm just going to be going through the mythics. There's tons of them here. If you want to get access to it, I'll have a link here down below, but you can go to Magic Puzzle Quest on Facebook. So it's facebook.com/Magic Puzzle Quest. And I'll have a direct link so you can go right into it. But you got the core 2021 card gallery, which has 223, 224 cards or something like that in here so that you can take a look at. But I'm going to go through the mythics only. So one of the first mythics we're going to see here is Anji, Falcon Wrath, creature vampire, black red, 10 casting cost, haste, and it's legendary. When this creature attacks, you may discard the last card in your hand. If you do, draw a card, then your opponent loses 4 life, then you discard a card from your hand. If you have a card with madness in your hand, reinforce this creature. That's a lot of text for some craziness. Madness is the ability that if it's discarded or if you're forced to discard a card, then it gains 3 mana, something like that. When this creature attacks, don't quote me on that, go look at the mechanic. I haven't played with a lot of Madness cards. It's typically historic. It's not one of the mechanics I really like very much because it's so hard to trigger. So I don't really put a lot of weight into the Madness stuff. But when you discard a card from your hand, if you have a card with Madness in your hand, reinforce this creature. So simple enough. You have one on the board, you have one in your hand, you mute it, you discard a card using all kinds of different like Thrill of Possibility or any of the other effects, even Song of Creation, and this card basically gets reinforced. So if you have Song of Creation in play and it ditches several cards from your hand, then this card should get reinforced multiple times. I'm not sure on that, but that will be definitely fun to check out. I'm excited to see and test that. And this is called Avatar of Growth. It's green, it's 16, it's a creature, 7/7 with trample. It's a mythic, actually, it's a masterpiece. And when this creature enters the battlefield, convert X gems to green. X is your green mana bonus. Then fetch the first 2 land supports from your library, move those cards to the board under your control. I'm hoping we get some good lands. We haven't had good lands in quite some time, since Rupture Spire and Scape Shift. And since we had that combo going, I think that was back in M19. That was like the last good combo, but prior to that, we've had several great lands, and we just haven't had anything in so long. So I'm hopeful that we'll get a couple of lands that are serviceable in this set, but I'm not exactly sure as of right now. The bigger thing right now, though, is that this convert X gems to green. X is your green mana bonus. I don't like these that have small abilities. Like if you're running Nissa Worldwaker, who has a +4 or 5 or something like that, that works really, really well. Actually, and that's still only mediocre. For 16 to convert 4 or 5 gems to green is not really great. So if you have, since this is an enters the battlefield effect, you can have cards that bounce it or that, Thassa's Intervention, I think is what does it. It basically exiles a card for a bit, brings it back into play, and as soon as it comes back into play, it converts more gems. It's at the end of your turn, so you don't get to reap the immediate benefit of the mana conversion. But hey, that's something. It's better than nothing, in my opinion. So something to bear in mind there. Bro, the Avatar of Growth is going to see a lot of action in loop decks. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. All right, next one. Azusa Lost But Seeking. Lost but relationship status complicated. She's a creature, she's a monk, she costs 10, she's a 5/6 legendary. When you convert 2 or more gems to green, your green mana bonus is increased by 1 until end of turn. This card works really well with the avatar we just saw. This effect can trigger up to 3 times per turn. And these are oh no, it's just till the end of turn. That's kind of lame, man. To be honest with you, you want stuff that stacks. It gives you long-term playability. You make it stick for 2 turns at least, but or 3 turns really. When you cast a support card with the land subtype, convert 3 gems to your planeswalker's colors. This effect can trigger up to 3 times per turn. I like that they're balancing some of the OP loop decks with some 3 per turn, which is still strong enough to do great stuff, but not so broken that you just take over a game completely, or that Greg can take over a game immediately with that kind of cycle stuff. So when you convert 2 or more green gems to green, your green mana bonus is increased by 1 until end of turn. This effect can trigger up to 3 times per turn, which makes that card go even stronger. So if you have some loop decks, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Bane Slayer Angel. While on the battlefield, this creature gets +3/+3 for each demon or dragon your opponent controls. Really kind of a lame ability because you don't have any control over what your opponent's doing. It's kind of a sideboard card if you're playing a deck against that has angels or dragons. Really not going to see a lot of play that way. It's a big body, 8/8 flying, life gain, which is, we've been missing a lot of creatures with life gain in the last few sets. Nothing really too powerful. Protection from red, protection from black, which I don't like the way this mechanic works. I've been playing with that a little bit, thinking that, okay, if I go fight a creature, then that creature doesn't deal damage to my creature if they're of those colors. That's not the way it's been working for me. If you have other ways or I'm doing it wrong, let me know. But for 17 and 8/8 flying with lifelink and first strike, it's got a lot of abilities, but I'm not really overly impressed with that character or creature right now. All right, blue. Baron Talarian Archmage. He's a human wizard, 12. I like that a lot of these are low casting costs. He's got flash. When you cast this card, you may return another target non-token creature you control to your hand. Let me read that again. When you cast this card, you may return another target non-token creature. So any creature, as long as it's not a token, you control to your hand. If you do, disable that card until end of turn. It gains full mana and gains flash. So if you get an extra swap, you can mute it, go to the end of turn, go to their turn, and when they attack, you can cast that creature on their turn. Okay, so that it doesn't have summoning sickness when you untap or when you start your turn. All right, there's some finagling there. Anticipation. You may return another target non-token creature you control to your hand. If you do draw 2 cards, then this creature gets +2/+2. So Anticipation only plays after the first ability, so you have to have another creature on the board so that you can return it to your hand, draw 2 cards, and then those creatures get +2/+2. I think Anticipation, you do it on their turn. Interesting. I don't know. We'll have to see the rest of the cards in the set. I can't think of any creature in my head right now that we'd want to be bouncing and taking off the board. But giving it full mana, maybe some casting abilities for objectives that are about casting creatures or casting multiple creatures. This would probably be something that fits into a spot space like that, but nothing that makes me say, hey, yeah, this is amazing. We'd have to see some enters the battlefield kind of creatures and benefits before we'd be able to say that's a real humdinger of a card right there. Oh, this guy. I think I like this guy. This is a goblin. He costs 15, which is expensive. He's got Defender, and he's got Indestructible, or he doesn't take any damage really. He's impervious to damage. This creature can block only 1 creature per turn if able. That's an interesting mechanic. I'm going to have to see how they do that. I'm expecting glitches. I'm going on the record and saying that we're going to have some glitches and bugs with that. When this creature blocks or is blocked, it deals X damage to your opponent's planeswalker. X is the power of the opposing creature. So if I get him to block a really big creature without trample, whatever or with trample or without trample, whatever his power is, he deals that much damage to your opponent. That's pretty awesome. Activate 3 red. This creature gains Berserker until end of turn. So even if he's attacking and blocking, I mean, there's so many different things you can do here. You can use Godsend. You can use, of course, Embercleave, which is just a beast of an artifact equipment. There's a lot of different things you can do with this that actually give him Berserker, so he's constantly attacking other creatures. And anytime he does combat with another creature, he's dealing that creature's powers damage to your opponent. Really excited to play with this creature. I think he's going to be a lot of fun. So Chainer Nightmare Adept. It's a Masterpiece. Creature human minion. At the beginning of your turn, you may discard the first card from your hand. If you do, the first creature in your graveyard gains Buried. Okay, I hate the Buried effect. Buried equal to its mana cost and gains X mana. X is the amount of mana in the card discarded this way. So that's a little different. At the beginning of your turn, you may discard the first card in your hand. If you do, the first creature in your graveyard gains Buried equal to its mana cost. The first creature in your graveyard. Okay. So if it's a 13 casting creature, it's in the graveyard, its Buried becomes 13. Then when you exile a card out of your hand, no mana, just exile a card, that gives that card this much mana that you've discarded this way. That's dope. That's really, really powerful. When a creature enters the battlefield from your graveyard, that creature gets +3/+3 and gains haste, and create up to 3 graveyard gems. When a creature enters the battlefield from your graveyard, This is a very powerful card. This is going to be very ridiculous. This is a reanimator card. This is exactly what we're looking for. This is going to be a ridiculous engine. We just draw a card. It needs no mana. Let me reread it. At the beginning of your turn, you may discard the first card from your hand. At the beginning of your turn, you may discard. It's at the beginning of your turn. You may. So before you go to your end step, you put your biggest mana casting cost card at the top of your hand. If you do, the first creature in your graveyard gains buried equal to its mana cost and gains X mana. This is going to be broken. I'm going to break this so hard. All right, so I'm excited for that. This is going to be a great card. Yeah, this is a chase card. I'm going to say this is one card that I want to go get. So Chainer, Nightmare Adept, someone comment on below. This is definitely a card you want to get. If you pull this, this could be a game breaker, a deck breaker. And it's red, so it can go in Luca, it can go in Narset, it can go in Angarith, it can go in any Bolas. He's going to be ridiculous. This is going to be a definite chase card. All right, next card. All right, here's a card that's interesting. This is Chromatic Orion. It's our first support artifact. It's 24. That's expensive. At the beginning of your turn, your colored mana bonuses become 4 until end of turn. When you activate a loyalty ability, convert 2 gems to each color. So you basically just blow the board up with 10 different swaps, and that just basically changes out the conversion, and you get +4 to all of your mana bonuses. At the beginning of your turn, your colored mana bonuses become 4. So now that's not 4 more, that's just 4. So if you have a 6 mana bonus on those and they drop them down to 3, that makes a big deal. This is going to go well in Bolas decks because of his mana gains. This is going to go well in really, I'm hard pressed to think of anybody that wouldn't benefit from this outside of like Koth, who gets like +9 or whatever. Yeah, this is ridiculous. I think this is, I don't know if it's a chase card, but it's definitely a card I want to play with. The only thing is it costs 24, but it's an artifact, so it goes right into my build with Emery, with Golos, and that deck build, and with Song of Creation. Of course, Song goes into everything, so this is going to be a card that just makes your deck run even more powerfully. I'm just not sure that it'll replace certain things. In my artifact deck, this will go really, really well. So I'm liking this. I'm really wanting to see this. It's definitely a card I want. Is it a chase card? I'd put it, it's up there. It's definitely something I want to mess around with. Okay, Discontinuity. While in your hand, this card cost is reduced by 4 during your turn. Until end of turn, players can't activate Loyalty and Vanguard abilities. Disable all cards in each player's hand and all the creatures on the battlefield until end of turn. This is, I'm going to read it again. It's got flash. It costs 14. It's a spell. While in your hand, this card's cost is reduced by 4 during your turn, so it costs 10. Until end of turn, players can't activate Loyalty and Vanguard abilities. Disable all cards in each player's hand and all creatures on the battlefield until end of turn. Okay, so you play this on your opponent's turn. You don't play it on your turn, unless you've got creatures that are, I don't know. I don't know why you would play it on your turn, but you would play it on their turn. And on their turn, it disables everything. They can't cast anything. They can't do anything. Essentially gives you an extra turn, but not really, because the only time you can play flash abilities is when they're about to attack. So they've already taken their turn. This card's dumb. I'm going to say this card is a dumb one. While in your hand, this card's cost is reduced by 4 during your turn until the end of turn. Players can't activate. Yeah, because they've already done everything. They just keeps creatures from being able to attack. But if they're already engaged in attacking, does that just nullify the attack? I think it does. Yeah, I don't think this is a good card. I think this is kind of dumb. I think it's a waste. So I'm going on record saying Fibblethip. I don't call him Fibblethip. I call him the Lost. So Double Vision is a support. It's an enchantment. It costs 13. While on the board, copy the first red spell you cast each turn. That card gains full mana. This is a great card. I do want this. While on the board, copy the first red spell you cast each turn. That card gains full mana. I do want this. Double Vision is going to be great. I think it's a powerful card. Elder Gargaroth. Elder Gargaroth is a mythic, costs 19. It's green. It's got, I always forget if it's defender or whatever it is. Trample, 9/9. As long as your opponent controls a creature, it's not vigilance. Yeah, it's vigilance. Creature with flying, this creature gains reach. When this creature attacks or blocks, choose one. Option A, create a beast token. I'm assuming it's going to be a 3/3 token. Option B, gain 3 life and draw a card. I'm curious to see how they do this. Are they going to give you 2 pictures that you can pick from, or are they going to give you a list that's A and B? Very excited to see this option because that opens us up to a lot of different depth inside of the card play, and it gives us a lot of options. Hopefully we won't get tired of making choices, though. So when this creature attacks or blocks, choose one. I think this is going to be a really neat card. Create a beast token or gain 3 life and draw a card. Actually, I don't think the abilities, I'm more excited for the mechanics than I am the actual abilities. A beast token can add up quickly, gain 3 life and draw a card. Okay, I see it. I think that's interesting. We'll go from there. Elsha of the Infinite, Prowess. Prowess is, I think, something you cast on their turn. This creature gets +4/+4 until end of turn, then draw a card. If that card is a non-creature card, it gains Flash. Okay. Legendary 15, 5/5. It is white, blue, and red. When you cast a card during your opponent's turn, this creature gets +2/+2. Permanently, it's not till end of turn. It just keeps it. Okay. All right. I'm not really impressed with it. I'd have to play with it a bit to see what it does, but it's definitely not a chase card for me. This is my chase card for the set. Fiery Emancipation, 22 support, 3 shield, support card enchantment. I love enchantments. When a red creature you control deals combat damage to your opponent's planeswalker, deal X damage to your opponent's planeswalker. X is 3 times that creature's power. Hey, that's a pretty big ember cleaved red creature you have. Oh my gosh, Quartzwood Crasher. Now triple it. It's a 1-turn kill all by itself. That's not where I'm excited. When you cast a red spell, deal damage to your opponent's planeswalker equal to that spell base's mana cost. And there is no limitations. Guess what's going to make a comeback? We're going to see cycle decks, or not cycle decks, but combo decks, infinite loop decks, that just deal massive amounts of damage in red spell casting with Fiery Emancipation on the board. You have, let's say, repeated reverberation. You have Calamax on board, so you multiply those cards. You then cast repeated reverberation on Electro Dominance. You go get multiples of those cards. It doesn't mention copies. It doesn't mention limits. It doesn't have anything else. Every time I'm casting those cards, 6 for Electro Dominance, but 9 for repeated reverberation, plus the copies of them. I'm pretty sure it's not going to include stored mana. It'll probably just be the casting cost of those. But there are other cards that cost quite a bit. Fiery, there's another one that does, it costs 12, and it basically goes out and does 6 points of damage. It'll do more damage from the actual casting cost than it will anything else. Look at the ultimatums that have red in it. If you can cast multiples of the ultimatums, this in any red deck is going to be game over. This is a massive card. I think this is going to do massive damage. I'm excited to play with it. Whew, that's my card right there. All right, so Garux Harbinger, 15, protection from black, 7/6, creature beast. When this creature deals combat damage to your opponent's planeswalker, fetch the first creature or vanguard card from your library. Then, if that is a green creature or vanguard with Garux subtype, that card gains mana equal to the damage dealt this way. I don't understand anything I just read. Let's reread it. When this creature deals combat damage to your opponent's planeswalker, fetch first creature or vanguard from your library. Okay, so just the first one. No conditions. Then if that is a green creature or vanguard with the Garux subtype, then that card gains mana equal to the damage dealt this way. That's a lot to get. Like, you could beef this guy up, go get the card. It gets full mana, but you can't cast it right now. You got to wait till next turn. Okay. I'm not sold this is good. It's very complicated to go get mana gain. There's a lot of full mana cards from the Ikoria set that would probably be a better spot fill. Yeah, I'd have to see what this does and play test it for a bit before I can make a decision. But it's a pretty big creature, and it's got Garuk in it, so there's a lot of Garuk cards. I'd be interested to see what all Garuks are coming out of that. Gerard Weatherlight Hero. He's a creature human soldier, 13 to cast. He's got Berserk. He's legendary first strike, which is good for a 5/5 body. Heroic. Your other creatures get +2/+2 and gain bravery until the beginning of your next turn. When this creature dies, if it attacked this turn, you may exile it. If you do, return the first 2 creatures with the first 2 artifact supports and the first 2 artifact supports from your graveyard to play under your control. Okay. When this creature dies, if it attacked this turn, you may exile it. If you do, return the first 2 creatures and the first 2 artifact supports from your graveyard to play under your control. Very specific. I think you're going to get more creature use out of this than artifacts. Maybe Embercleave in a red deck. He is red and white, so that's possible. I'm not sold that he's going to be a deck to build around, but he might be something that could be a neat support if you pull him and you have a flex spot that you can use. Maybe he could spot fill, but he's not going to. I don't think he's going to be something that you can really dedicate a lot to. But he does have Berserk, so if you don't beef him up, you're probably, as long as they've got a creature on the board, he will eventually die. Your goal is to get as much stuff into the graveyard as you can possibly have. So, yeah, him having Berserk actually changes it a bit. I might think it actually could do a little bit better that way. So, I don't know. That'll be something we have to play with. All right, next one. Gared, Conclave Exile, creature human shaman, 15, red, white, green, or white, red, green. He's got reposition. This ability here, I forget what that one's called. It is, let's see. It's bravery. At the beginning of combat on your turn, this creature is positioned as the first creature in your battlefield until the end of turn. If there are 2 or more creatures with bravery on the battlefield under your control, they are repositioned according to their current position. This ability has priority over defender, reach, and vigilance. So bottom line is, if this is the 3rd creature you cast, he goes to the 1st position on your attack board. When this creature enters the battlefield, create a Rhino token. Sure, it's a 4/4 or a 5/5 Rhino. When this creature attacks, populate. Populate takes your tokens, and so he gives you a token. Populate gives you a token, and then it basically reinforces that token. Let's find Populate. Is a new mechanic that allows reinforcing the first creature token that the player controls. Just the first one. The Populate ability hint reads, reinforce the first creature token you control with the greatest base power. So in this case, you bring a token out, it gets reinforced or repopulated, basically reinforced, when this creature attacks. Doesn't have to hit anybody, doesn't have to do anything. As soon as he attacks, he's beefing up your critter. So if this guy gets 1st position, he beefs up the Rhino token, and that card now gets doubled up. Interesting. We'll have to see about giant token play and how this card plays, but if you have a solid beatdown beastie deck, he might be something that works really, really well with it. Okay, Goblin Goliath. He's red. 19 haste, 8/7. He's a masterpiece. When this creature enters the battlefield, create X goblin tokens. Excited, except then you read the next line. X is your red mana bonus. Koth, maybe? Something like that. Activate 2 turn red. So you get 2 gems that take 2 turns. Your other creatures gain double strike until end of turn, then create 2 goblin tokens. So in 2 turns, if you don't match it, it pops. You get 2 goblins for each one of those, so that's 4 goblins, essentially, as long as your opponent doesn't match it and destroy it on their turn. Got it? And yeah, that's about what he does. Goblin tokens, anybody? We'll see what this does. There's a couple of different creatures existing that I think could work real well with that. Graven, Predator, Captain. This one's interesting. He's got the Bravery banner, he's got Legendary, he's got Menace, so he can't be blocked unless by artifact creatures. When you lose life, this creature, human warrior, gets +X/+0 until end of turn. X is the amount of life you lost this way. When you lose life, this creature gets until end of turn. So you have to lose life on your own turn for this to impact combat. If he has Defender or something like that, then you can take damage. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may destroy the last other creature you control. If you do, you lose life equal to that creature's toughness. Then you draw a card, and that card gains mana equal to that creature's power. So if you've got like a 5/3, 5 power, 3 defense, you take 3 points of damage. This guy gains 3 power till the end of turn. You draw a card, and then that one gets 5 mana because that's the strength of that card that you have in there. Okay, I'd have to play with it a little bit. I don't see that it's masterpiece level right now, but that's just because I haven't played with it. It could combo really well with some other stuff. I'm not seeing it right now. So, meh, okay. Grim Tutor. 6 cost spell. It's black. Black always gets the cool spells. Pick one of the first 4 different cards from your library. Fetch that card. Gains half of its mana, then lose 6 life. If you're playing a life gain deck, or if you're doing something that counteracts the damage, there's nothing that says that damage can't be counteracted. Or maybe that plays well with the card we just looked at. On your turn, you play it, you cast it, that card gets half its mana, you take 6 points of damage, and that grim dude, or whatever it is able to get power equal to the damage you're taking from this. So it could combo well with it. I just like tutor cards. 6 life really isn't a lot, and the mana quest or in the Magic puzzle quest life levels, it's pretty basic. So we'll go from there. Grizz Mold, the Dread Sour. It's Masterpiece 14. It's black and green. It's legendary. It's got trample 6/6. Creature Troll Shaman. It's for your Shaman objectives. When a creature dies or loses a reinforcement, this creature gets +2/+2. If that creature is a token creature, this creature gets +3/+3. Cool. So your Killer Instinct sacrifices if you have tokens that are dying to it. This guy gets a 3/3, becomes a 9/9 at the end of the first turn, and he's on board. At the end of your turn, create 2 Sapperling tokens under each player's control. Morbid. When something dies, then you gain 3 life. So when something dies on your board or loses a reinforcement, you get 3 life from that. Interesting. So he could beef up. He's just going to take a little while. I would think rather... yeah, we do something that takes away reinforcements from ourselves or from one of our creatures. I don't know. We have to fiddle around with that to see what works with it. Inspired Sphinx, creature Sphinx. When this creature enters the battlefield, draw X cards. Then create X Thopter tokens. I love X, except that it's your blue mana bonus. Alright, so you have to have a blue mana creature that goes into. But at 24 casting costs on a blue-only deck, or a blue-white deck, for an 8/8 flyer... It doesn't even have legendary status, so we can't do some of the legendary stuff that goes along with it. Activate 2 blue, draw a card, then create a Thopter token, which is going to be a 1/1 with flying. I don't know. Draw X cards and then create X Thopter tokens. X is your blue mana bonus. Alright, maybe if I'm playing an artifact deck, but at 24 to cast, you got to find a way to cheat this out, and you're not doing that in blue. Maybe with Urza and mana conversion at the beginning of your turn. I don't know. That's really expensive for kind of a meh card, in my opinion. We'll see. Jolrael Mwanvuli Recluse. Jolrael Mwanvuli Recluse. Creature, human droid, resourceful, so when you draw more cards, 3, you could draw up to 3 cards, create a green cat token, so I'm assuming it's going to be a 1/1, maybe a 2/2, based on the panther I'm looking at there. Activate 1, 2-turn green. Your creature's base power and toughness become X until end of turn. X is the number of cards in your hand. Keep a full hand. Those creatures become, their base power becomes 6/6 or 5/5. Really neat before they attack, because that means that you probably have a full hand of cards. If you've got, 30 little 1/1 tokens on there, that's, let me make it easier, 10 little 1/1 tokens on the board, then that means that they become 5/5s or 6/6 base power, so that's 60. That's pretty beast. That this card can be something that if you do with a token deck properly, it could be done really well, but you only have 1 activation with this. That'd be neat if they gave you 2, then you can trigger it twice. But actually, you could have... No, I think it's out when you only actually activate 1. So, very interesting. I think this is really neat. We'll have to see how it plays out. Keravik the Spiteful. He's a creature, human warlock for 15, legendary, 6/5. He's black. While in the battlefield, other creatures get -2/-2. When other creatures... that's including your own. When other creatures are... When other creature is... I think they meant when another creature is reinforced. They did it right. That creature gets -3/-3. Ooh. Let's read that again. While in the battlefield, other creatures get -2/-2. When another creature is reinforced, that creature gets -3/-3. Goodbye, tokens. He is the exact polar opposite of the girl we just saw a second ago. Morbid. When something dies at the end of your turn, gain 3 loyalty. Not now, but at the end of your turn. Very interesting. Yeah, this could be an interesting build. I'd like to see what this does. Krond the Dawnclad. 18, white, green, 6/6, flying, vigilance, and legendary. It's a creature. It's an Archon. When this creature attacks, if this creature is enchanted, exile an opposing non-land support. This effect can affect Vanguard supports. Great. If you can't, exile the last opposing creature. When this creature attacks, so every turn this thing attacks, it's either getting rid of an enchanted, getting rid of a non-land support, including Vanguards, or it's getting rid of a creature. So this could potentially be, if this drops on the board and you don't have a lot out there to defend against it, you better have some removal, or you're losing all your creatures to it, or you have to remove it before you drop a creature. So this could be a pain. This could be somebody that gets in your way. Mangarra the Diplomat. This is a 16 white creature for 5/7, 5 power, 7 toughness, legendary, and lifelink. creature human cleric. At the beginning of the combat on your opponent's turn, draw a card. It gains 2 mana for each creature your opponent's control. We're going to have multiple opponents? What? Wait, what? Are you suggesting we're going to have multiple opponents? We can play 3-way fighting? Or is that a typo? When your opponent, it should say when any opponent casts their second card in a turn, draw a card, it gains full mana. So when your opponent casts their second card in a turn, draw a card, it gains full mana. Not anything past the first. It's just a one-time effect. But this is really neat. I like this. It gives white some nice trickery and shenanigans. I always like that. When your opponent casts their second card in a turn, draw a card, it gains full mana. I like full mana. You know I'm going to play it. Mauricio Breaker of the Coil, 13 Masterpiece. It's legendary. It has bravery. It's a 7/6 body. It is white, red, and green. It's a cat warrior. While on the battlefield, your opponent can't cast cards during your turn, so stops all flash ability. Not that that's a big deal, but we'll see. Maybe this set will change that. When this creature deals combat damage to your opponent's planeswalker, the first opposing creature with the least power among creatures your opponent controls gains Berserk and Bravery until the beginning of your next turn. Okay, so when this creature deals combat damage to your opponent's planeswalker, the first opposing creature with the least power among creatures your opponent controls gains Berserk and Bravery until the beginning of your next turn. So literally, hey, I'm hitting you. I'm hitting your planeswalker. Your weakest critter is going to come fight me. Okay. Eventually it's going to kill Mauricio unless you make him bulletproof. We'll see. We'll see. That could be a wall. That could be problematic. Massacre Worm. 19/9/8 black. This is beast. Creature worm. When this creature enters the battlefield, I love enter battlefield's effect with big creatures. Each opposing creature gets -4/-4. Not your creatures. Each opposing creature gets -4/-4 until end of turn. When an opposing creature dies, your opponent loses 6 life. This is nuts. Once this guy hits the board, you want to get multiple of these on the board. This is a reanimator strategy. Dump these guys in your graveyard, have them hit the battlefield through any means necessary, and basically watch them lose their entire board presence. It would be awesome if it was loses a reinforcement or your opponent loses or a creature dies. But as it is, you can do a max of 18 life because they're only going to have 3 creatures on the board. But yeah, between this, you can actually go get some pretty powerful stuff done with it. I like it a lot. Militant Angel, 22 Masterpiece card. It's white. It's got bravery, flying, lifelink, 6/7. When this creature, it's an angel. When this creature enters the battlefield, gain X life. Then create X night tokens. X is your white mana bonus. Elspeth's getting this bad boy. This is a perfect card for Elspeth. When this creature attacks, gain 3 life, then create a night token. Yeah, this is a really neat card for white. It's something that's really OP. As soon as it hits the board, it can turn the tide. It can really beef up their life. This, in conjunction with the other card we talked about that made your mana bonuses 4, this would work really well with any of those cards as well. That would be kind of a fun build. I think that would be a lot of fun to build out. Niambi, Esteemed Speaker. She only costs 9. She's legendary. She's got flash. She's a 4/3. She's a human cleric. When this creature enters the battlefield, you may return another target non-token creature you control to your hand. If you do, you gain life equal to that creature's base mana cost. That's a lot. Mana equal to that creature's base power, and loyalty equal to that creature's base toughness. Let me read that again. When this creature enters the battlefield, you may return another target non-token creature you control to your hand. If you do, 3 things happen. You gain life equal to that creature's base mana cost. So if it's a 15 mana cost, you gain 15 life. You gain mana equal to that creature's base power. So if it's a 10 strength, you get 10 mana. And you gain loyalty equal to that creature's base toughness. So if it's got 10 toughness, you gain 10 loyalty. At the end of your turn, you may discard a legendary card. If you do, draw 2 cards. That second ability is not big. It's going to get annoying because, no, I don't want to discard stuff. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe if you're in a pinch, you need to draw it deeper into your deck. But this is going to be fun. This is white at its finest. I can't wait to play this in some decks. I really, really like this. 9 lives. 15 support. Costs 15 mana. The shield is 2 count, support card, enchantment. When you take damage for the first time during a turn, you gain prevent damage until the end of turn, then reinforce this support. At the end of each player's turn, if this support has 9 or more reinforcements, exile it. When the support is exiled or destroyed, you lose prevent damage until the end of turn, then lose half your life total rounded up. That's a beast. This is the white equivalent of Lich's Mastery from M19, I think it was, or Dominaria, I'm not sure which set it was. But essentially this helps to prevent or minimize the amount of damage you're taking until it's destroyed. You want to match this gem and keep it low without destroying it. You want to keep those middle grounds with it so that it doesn't get too overly damaged. But you definitely want to use this, probably cast this after you have other creatures that are already on the board before going too far with it. Peer into the Abyss, 21 spell. Black, target player draws 6 cards, then that player gains 30 loyalty and loses half their life rounded up. So you can do this to yourself and your opponent. If you have something that prevents damage, that doesn't take damage, that just loses your life. So there's nothing you can do about that. I don't think you can avoid that. Target player draws 6 cards, then that player gains 30 loyalty. Like, it depends. I mean, if you have something that really is loyalty ability that you really need and 6 cards to cast it, yeah, that's a bit of a interesting card. You'd have to have something that maybe life gain that circumvents that. That'll be interesting to play. I don't think it's going to see a lot of play though because of that losing half your life. Yeah. Radha, Heart of Keld, 14. It's an elf warrior, 6/6, legendary. Red and green. As long as it's your turn, this creature gains first strike. When this creature attacks, this creature gets +X/+Y until end of turn. X is your red mana bonus, Y is your green mana bonus. So you could get +4/+4 because it would be a 10/10 with that one artifact on the board. When you draw your first land support in a turn, convert 3 gems to your planeswalker's colors. Again, yeah, I'd like it. I would rather convert it to a specific color, but all right. Yeah, okay, interesting. I'd be curious to see how it can get out of hand if you build it right. Rayami, First of the Fallen, 14, creature, legendary, 7/6 body. It's a blue, black, and green creature. It's a vampire. Excited to have some vampires on the board finally. When a creature dies, exile it instead. Then this creature gets +2/+2 and gains all of that creature's basic evergreen abilities. Okay. Yeah, okay. If you're playing a vampire-heavy deck, if you're playing a theme deck, maybe this matters, but we'll see. Rin and Seri, Inseparable. 12 casting cost for a creature. It's legendary. It's 3/3. It's white, red, and green. It's a creature, cat dog. When you cast a cat creature, if you control 2 or less creatures, create a white dog token. Otherwise, reinforce this creature. When you cast a dog creature, if you control 2 or less creatures, create a green cat token. Otherwise, reinforce this creature. Activate 3, deal damage to any opposing target equal to the number of dog and dog reinforcements you control. You gain life equal to the number of cat and cat reinforcements you control. Alright, so all you pet lovers out there, you've got a theme for your next deck. I'm not a big fan of cheeky stuff like this. I think it can be fun, but it's too late game to win games, but we'll probably build a deck just to have some fun with it. Hulk Smash, 20 for Rot Hulk. It's a mythic, it's a masterpiece rather, for an 8/8 menace body that's black, creature, zombie. When this creature enters the battlefield, your opponent loses X life. X is your black mana bonus. Okay. Then return the first 2 different zombie creatures that are not named Rot Hulk from your graveyard to the battlefield under your control. That's neat. So if you have a bounce effect with this creature, maybe you're playing blue-black, you have Thassa's Intervention, this card goes out, comes back in, you wind up getting 2 zombies back from your graveyard. Every single time it comes out, your opponent loses X life. It'd be nice if you gained that life. If you gained that life, this might be a card that you could build around completely, but I'll still play with it. I think this is kind of cool. I don't like this picture. I think this picture's kind of weak. Sanctum of All, 15. It's a support. It's legendary. 5 shields. It's a chromatic color. I didn't see that before. It's white, blue, black, red, and green. Support card, enchantment, shrine. Oh, it's a shrine. Shrines are back, people. This was back from years and years ago. At the beginning of your turn, fetch the first shrine card from your library. Move that card to play under your control. Yee! At the end of your turn, if you control 6 or more different shrine supports, create a Sanctum of None token. I don't know what the Sanctum of None token does. We'll figure that out when we get it, but I'm assuming we're going to wind up getting some really cool stuff, and we're going to see decks that are all in shrines and lands and supports. Curious which planeswalkers have all of support abilities that way. Comment below, let me know that. But yeah, I'm excited for shrines. This is going to be fun. Savine the Chronoclasm. 12 for a creature. He's got damage prevention, prevent damage. He's legendary 4/4, white, blue, red, creature, human, wizard. This creature cannot block. When you cast a spell card from your graveyard, if it is the first spell card you cast this turn, copy it. That copy gains full mana. I'm excited to break this. There's going to be some fun with this. I'm going to break this. and I'm excited to play it. I think this is going to have some fun stuff. I want to see if they have a lot more graveyard played abilities for spells. But there's another one we were looking at beforehand that gave creatures buried. So we'll see. We'll see what we can wind up doing with something like this. Spark Hunter Massacre is 11 for a creature, 6/7, colorless. Creature artifact Massacre. I like artifacts. When you cast this card, discard the first card from your hand. That's a bummer. Activate 4. Each opposing Vanguard support loses 1 shield. Okay, Vanguard stuff. Nobody plays really Vanguards that much. When your opponent activates a loyalty ability or a Vanguard ability, this creature gains hexproof and prevent damage till the end of turn. He's super specific against Vanguards. I don't think he's. Yeah, I'm not impressed. 6/7 for an 11 or 11 for a 6/7 body. That's something. But I don't know if he'll take us any slot inside of my my artifact build deck. So all right. Speaker of the Heavens, 11. He's got Vigilance, Lifelink. He's a 3/6 white human cleric. Renewal 6. I don't know what that is. At the end of your turn, if you have full life, create an angel token. That's cool. Yeah, that's really neat. So I'm assuming it's going to be a 4/4 flying token. I'm assuming Renewal 6. Maybe he gets beefier power. He gets his defense back up for 6. So every turn, if he takes even 5, he should get all the way back up. Not 100% on that, but I'd like to see that. Yeah, that's pretty neat. But it's every turn, so there's no way to really ramp that up unless you get an extra turn. So we'll see. Sporeweb Weaver, 15 for a creature, Mythic. It's got reach, it's got protection from blue, 5/8 body, green. It's a spider. When this creature is dealt damage for the first time each turn, gain X life. Then create X Sapperling tokens. X is the total amount of damage dealt to this creature. Pretty neat, actually. Sapperlings are probably going to be the 1/1s. You gain life though. That's green life gain. Without life link, which is very interesting. I think that might be the first time I've ever seen that. So that'll be an interesting build. And it's not considered a basic evergreen ability, which is kind of interesting with some of the shenanigans you can do with some evergreen stuff. So we'll see. Next one is Stormwing Entity. It's 17 for a creature. It's flying, blue, 6/6, elemental. When you cast a spell, if this card is in your hand, reduce its cost by 3, then this creature gets +1/+1. Okay. Prowess. This creature gets +3/+3. When this creature enters a battlefield, draw 2 cards. That's kind of neat. When you cast a spell, if this card is in your hand, reduced its cost by 3. Okay, this cost by 3. Then this creature gets +1/+1. Yeah, if you run a combo deck that runs a lot of spell cast, this might make a big difference for that. That would be interesting. I'd like to see a free 6/6 hit the board. How many would you have to have? 6. You'd have to cast 6 spells, basically, for this puppy to be free, or at least 1 mana. 5 or 6 spells. Yeah, interesting. Subira Tozidi Caravaner. She's 10. She's got bravery. She's legendary. Haste 3/4. She's red. She's a human shaman. When this creature attacks, your other creatures with base power 3 or less gain double strike and unblockable until end of turn. That's cool. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may discard all cards from your hand. If you do, your creatures with base power 3 or less get +3/+3 until end of turn, and you draw 3 cards. When this creature attacks your other creatures with base power 3 or less, that's really neat. This is something you would want to build around. That's a lot of fun. Especially if you're running a Reanimator deck. This could actually be really, really fun. Yeah, I like that. I want to try that out. Sublime Epiphany. 18. It's a spell. Blue flash spell card. Perform each of the following actions if able. Drain all mana from the first card in your opponent's hand. Disable the first opposing creature until end of turn. Reinforce your first creature you control. Return an opposing non-land support to its owner's hand. Draw a card. Wow. Okay. You can do it on their turn. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's a lot of meh. Tongarth First Mate. Hey, it's like Angrath. 14 creature. It's a masterpiece. Legendary Trample. 6/6, red-green, Minotaur Warrior. At the beginning of combat on your opponent's turn. Okay. If your opponent controls 2 or more creatures, this creature deals damage equal to its power to your opponent's planeswalker. Then you may have it fight target opposing creature. If that creature dies, excess damage is dealt to that creature's controller instead. Okay. Kind of a control, really a pain. Will be annoying if you have multiple creatures on the board, but if you have 1 creature, then it's kind of irrelevant. We'll see. Yeah, I'm not really blown away by that. Terror of the Peaks. That's a cool painting. 17 for a creature, 8/7 with flying. It's a dragon. When this creature becomes a target of a spell your opponent controls, your opponent loses 6 life. When another creature enters the battlefield under your control, deal X damage to your opponents to an opposing target, any opposing target. X is that creature's base power. So when another creature enters the board, again, Reanimator, it deals damage to any target, so I can hit planeswalkers with it as well as creatures. Neat. That might have a spot role to fill in some of the cards that we're playing. I'd like to play that. This is a great painting. Thought Sponge. 12 for a creature. It's flash. It's masterpiece. It's got defender. It's a 1/1, so it's a sponge. When this creature enters the battle, it's blue. When this creature enters the battlefield, it gets +X/+X. X is the number of cards in your opponent's hand. When your opponent draws a card, this creature gets +1/+1. When this creature dies, draw X cards. Okay, so this will take the place of Walking Bookcase or something like that. Walking Archive. That's a masterpiece. Same basic concept. No flying, though. It's floating. You should have it be flying. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. With Defender. With Defender. So he'll always get attacked. Interesting. Vela the Nightclad, that's an awesome painting too. 16 for a creature that's 5/5, menace, legendary. She's blue and black. She's a human wizard. While on the battlefield, your creatures gain menace. Okay. When a creature you control loses a reinforcement, dies, or is exiled, your opponent loses 4 life. Okay. Interesting. Okay, she's just a beat stick, and she lets you do evasion with the rest of your creatures. That's neat. I don't know. Yeah, okay. Interesting. Vito, what's up, Vito? My cousin Vito, Thorn of the Dusk Rose over here. For 15 mana, it's a 4/6 body, black that's legendary, vampire cleric. When you gain life, your opponent loses that much life. That's cool. That's really cool. Renewal 6, at the beginning of this creature, at the beginning of combat on your turn, your creatures gain lifelink until end of turn. Really neat. This is a cool card. I definitely want to play with this. There's a lot of life gain stuff that you can do that will counter. This takes a Sequin Bond was the card that happened in M19, I think it was, and I was really excited to play with it, except that support lost the shield every time you gained life. This one's infinite. Whenever you gain life, your opponent loses that much life. This is awesome. I will definitely want this. I want this. Bam. Let's go. That's going to be cool. Volrath the Shape Stealer. That's a cool painting. There's a lot of good paintings in this. 21 for a creature for this masterpiece. He's legendary and mutate. Yes, more mutations. 7/5 body, blue, black, green, shapeshifter, mutation. Target opposing creature gets -1/-1. Then this creature gains a random basic evergreen ability. Okay. When this creature is cast as a mutation, the mutated creature's base power and toughness becomes 7/5. That's really cool. It still costs 21 though. But if you do some stuff that's like the bridge card that brings any creature that's been destroyed from your graveyard back to your hand with full power, that would be something that would help cheat this guy a little bit better. Yeah, I really like this. I think this is going to be fun. Exciting. Alright, neat. Yeah, I like that one. Yeah, my friends, that's it for the set. Again, those are just the Mythics and the Masterpieces. For me, the chase card right here is Fire Emancipation. This card is going to be so broken. I can't wait to get it and start using it to go build some just cycling combo red spell decks that are just going to burn out my opponent without having to touch anything. It's going to be fantastic. Very excited to put this to use. What cards are you excited for? Let me know in the set. Comment below and ask any questions about how to break them, things you think we could put together. As far as my mind's already spinning. I can't wait till next week to go grab as many of these cards as I possibly can. The next video I'll be doing the rare sets. I'll be going through the rares and seeing which ones of those work well, and then I'll be spotlighting uncommons and commons that I think are worth pursuing. So at any rate, I hope you're awesome. Enjoy it, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.